This is NBC Montana Today.
Good morning, Montana. I'm Jason Hurst. As you pour your coffee and make breakfast, let's get you informed and prepared for your Wednesday. Now, coming up over the next half hour, we continue to explore the impacts and limited options locals face if the Noxon Bridge closes and what alternative routes look like. In the season of giving, find out why Tuesday was not just another day for one Columbia Falls business, and Missoula Rural Fire District has tips to keep you safe and prevent fires this holiday season.
Well, the time is 6:30. A little bit of cloud cover keeping that fog from forming for us around western Montana, but clouds producing a little bit of light snow. More of a nuisance than anything. Nothing's going to accumulate. We've got temperatures in the 20s this morning. 22 in Butte. That's our cold spot. Missoula, right around 30, 29 currently in the Missoula area. Really don't need to warm that vehicle up this morning, but we do have a couple of snow showers trying to work their way through along Highway 93 through Lolo. Also around, say, the Bison Range, you're going to see a couple of flurries, but again, it's not going to amount to much more of a nuisance. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast. We'll keep that isolated threat in the forecast through 10 a.m. Once we get into the afternoon, mostly cloudy to cloudy skies. Temperatures for us today above normal. We're climbing into the upper 30s. As we head into the afternoon.
We begin with a developing story with an accident that occurred in Missoula on Tuesday evening. Just before 11 p.m., the Missoula City Police Department sent out an alert telling residents to avoid the area of Brooks and Higgins to Beckwith due to an accident and to expect delays. Now, this is video of the scene. We can tell you the Missoula Police Department has confirmed with NBC Montana that it was a single vehicle versus pedestrian accident. It is an ongoing investigation, so the police could not provide details on the status of the individuals involved, but they could confirm Brook Street is back open. Now, there was a fatal single vehicle crash between Butte and Rocker. It happened here on Old US Highway 1 around 2 p.m. Tuesday. The road conditions were wet and snow covered, and the police report says the vehicle was going at a high rate of speed when it lost control, forcing the vehicle to go off the road over a culvert, hitting a rock and forcing the vehicle to roll and land on its roof. The driver was not wearing his seatbelt and was pronounced deceased on the scene. The 38-year-old male victim's name has not been released. On Tuesday, NBC Montana's Jacob Owens took us to Noxon as the community comes to grips with potentially having a bridge that is so vital to the town closed permanently. Now, if you missed part one, it is available on NBCMontana.com. We head back to Noxon for part two of our series exploring the impacts and limited options locals face if the Noxon Bridge closes. NBC Montana's Jacob Owens shows us what one of these alternative routes looks like.
A closure of the Noxon Bridge would not only have a massive impact on the community, it would leave residents with only two ways out of town. We took a drive on the eastbound dirt road to Trout Creek. Jim Byler, the Noxon fire chief, drove us down this bumpy road. He's become sort of the unofficial spokesperson and pot stirrer for all things Noxon and its deteriorating bridge.
No date, no time, no heads up. So if this bridge closes, what are we going to do for, I run the bus garage and the fire department, and we have close to 500 people on this side of the river. What are we going to do?
Byler explains that during this summer's brief closure, he'd park his fire vehicle on one side of the bridge and run over to another, losing response time. He says for school buses, there are two options in the case of a closure, east and west. He's not a fan of the road to Trout Creek.
East is not going to be an option. I mean, I wouldn't want my kids on that road. And west, I don't mind west, but you're adding 45 minutes minimum to a route when kids can't be on a bus over an hour.
These are the two alternative routes, south to Trout Creek and north to Heron. Sanders County Commissioner Tony Cox says the northern back road is county maintained, but is made of gravel and runs along the river, lacking guardrails. Cox says the current plan is to take care of the existing bridge by obeying speed and weight limits. The Montana Department of Transportation's November letter to county commissioners reported officials witnessing overweight vehicles crossing the structure. If MDT declares the bridge needs to close, using the back roads is the plan.
And I know that isn't a great plan, but it's the only thing we have.
Byler is in favor of fixing the existing bridge, even bringing up the idea of a temporary bridge. He's calling on Montana's newly elected officials to help Noxon.
Write your congressman, be a pain in their butt and help this town. This town's been here forever. Because we're losing it slowly. It's wilting away. I don't care what you say, it is.
Reporting in Noxon, Jacob Owens, NBC Montana.
We now head to court as Kylie Gibson brings us arraignment details on a man arrested for a Missoula homicide last month.
The man charged in the bludgeoning death of a Missoula woman was arraigned in district court Tuesday morning. 51-year-old James Edward Brown appeared from the Missoula County Detention Center via Zoom. Brown is accused of killing 37-year-old Audrey Bird in Missoula between November 23rd and 24th. Brown is charged with deliberate homicide, partner-family member assault third offense, and unlawful restraint.
You understand the nature of all of those charges and the maximum possible penalty?
Yes, sir.
Am I correct that you're pleading not guilty this morning?
Yes, you are.
Not guilty pleas are ordered entered.
On November 24th, just after 11:30 a.m., officers responded to the Noon's convenience store on East Broadway for a report of an unresponsive person inside a vehicle. Officers discovered Bird dead inside the vehicle with visible injuries to her face, bruising all over her body, and blood on her clothing. Documents state Brown came out of the convenience store and asked officers, quote, "Is she dead?" Later admitting the pair got into a fight over Brown struggling to find his wallet near Rymel Road. Police arrested Brown and transported him to be interviewed. On scene, detectives discovered evidence indicating a struggle inside of the vehicle. Brown reportedly said he struck her with a hammer punch approximately 10 times and she became unresponsive. The next morning, Brown's vehicle would not start. He called a friend to jump his vehicle. Brown followed the friend to the Motel 6 on West Broadway Street. That friend reportedly told Brown to take Bird to the hospital. Brown then drove to the Noon's gas station where he was arrested. Now, Brown is set to appear back in court on March 18th at 9 a.m. If Brown is found guilty, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. Bond remains set at $1 million. Reporting in Missoula, Kylie Gibson, NBC Montana.
For 7 months out of the year, every Tuesday, you can count on a local business in Columbia Falls on giving back to the community. Backslope Brewing opened nearly 9 years ago, and every Tuesday from January through April and from October through December, they host a community benefit day. Organizations and nonprofits can apply to be a beneficiary, with Backslope Brewing donating a portion of that day's proceeds to the organization.
We purposefully choose to use the community benefit days as the majority of our marketing budget, because we see that as being able to support our community, support a lot of the nonprofits in the Valley.
Backslope Brewing's profits made from patrons dining in go toward the community benefit day as well. Less than 2 weeks in, and Missoula's Food for Fines is already on track to beat its totals from the program's previous run in 2019. Food items given to Missoula's Parking Commission already offset $282 in citations. The initiative's 2019 total reached about $493. The commission relaunched Food for Fines this year after a 5-year hiatus. Now, the initiative allows drivers to pay off parking tickets by donating up to 10 non-perishable food items this month.
It doesn't always feel good to pay a parking ticket, and this is a way to kind of make that feel a little better and make it more possible for people who might be avoiding taking care of outstanding citations.
Pilgrim says individuals donated over 100 items so far, and each item will go to the Missoula Food Bank. Drivers can drop off food at the Missoula Parking Commission's office, which is located on Main Street and open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The season of giving is in full swing, but some organizations are seeing people give a little less. The Bozeman Salvation Army Corps has an angel trees up at 14 locations across the city with wish lists for 400 children. That's increased from 7 locations and approximately 300 children last year.
Not only have we seen a huge increase in those who have asking for assistance, we've also seen a decrease in tags being pulled off the tree.
Right now, participants have returned about 10% of the tags. While the Salvation Army does their best to make sure every child gets something, the funds largely come from Red Kettle donations, which are at the lowest level in 4 years. We now visit with Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster, who is standing by. And Brooke, you mentioned it, there's windy conditions out there. That's tough for the kids out there waiting for the school bus. Any tips for them to keep warm or any advice out there?
You know, we're dealing with that wind a little further south than, say, Kalispell and Missoula. So kids in Kalispell and Missoula not having to deal with the wind, but what you're having to deal with, maybe a little bit of light snow out there, out at the bus stop. Again, it's not going to amount to much more of a nuisance. You can see live look outside. Roads looking pretty good for us in Kalispell and Missoula. Temperatures chilly. I mean, cold enough you'll need a jacket. We're at 20. We'll be at 24 in that 7 o'clock hour for you in Kalispell. Right around the freezing mark, though, once we get into the afternoon. Temperatures a little bit warmer for us in Missoula. Missoula, a couple of flurries in that 7 to 8 o'clock hour. We'll jump to 33 by lunchtime, almost to that 40-degree mark as we head into the afternoon. Now, this weekend, we're tracking a weather maker that's going to bring us a round of accumulating snow to northwest Montana and for our mountain passes. I'll tell you how much in about 10 minutes.
Coming up, we take a closer look at the fall of Assad in Syria and how Israel is responding. And Missoula Rural Fire District has tips to keep you safe and prevent fires this holiday season. But first, here is a live look from our Hellgate Plumbing weather camera above TV Mountain in Snowball, looking down into the Missoula Valley. And Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster has your day planner. That's coming up right after the break.
No days